First and foremost, go read the books. Absolutely incredible. Terrified me as a child. Go read the books. Hey guys, Melinda here. Welcome back to my movie and TV reviews. This week we are going to be discussing the movie Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. For those of you who might not know, this movie is actually based on the trilogy book series Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark by Alvin Schwartz. I just googled it and I honestly had no idea that the books came out when they did. The first one was released in 1981, second was 1984, and third was 1991. These were the books that I grew up on, that I read when I wanted to scare the bejeebus out of me. I had no idea that those books have been around for so many years. Anyway, after many years, the brilliant writer/director Guillermo Del Toro decided to turn the book series into its own film, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. It was released a couple years ago, back in 2019. It is currently streaming on Netflix if you guys are interested and want to go check it out. But I have to say I'm rather disappointed in it. For those of you who haven't seen any of my other movie or TV reviews, I like to review it in a way that gives no spoilers, so that way anybody can click onto this video and get an idea if they want to go watch it. With that, let's go ahead and dive into some of the details and I'll explain to you why I was a little disappointed in this film. First of all, the book series Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark are just like an anthology, I think is the right word. It's a collection of small stories brought together and just make up the book. So like, this is gonna be very, very wrong, but one book would have like 15 short stories in it of different scary stories. That's why I was very curious to see how they would take that and put it into a screenplay and make a movie out of it. So that brings us to the movie Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Basically what it's about is following a group of kids that it's Halloween, they want a little spook in their life, so they go to the neighborhood haunted house and has this myth of this girl that her parents kept her locked in a room and wouldn't let her out because they were like ashamed of her or something like that. So kids would come to the house and the girl's name is Sarah. Sarah was known to tell scary stories to the kids through the walls. And then the kids would go missing, they would die, nobody knows what happened to them. So that's kind of the myth beyond Sarah and her haunted house. The group of kids go to this house, they find Sarah's book of scary stories. One of the characters is like very into dark, witchy stuff, so she takes the book and stories begin to be written about her friends and her friends go missing and yeah, I think that's pretty much how I can describe it without giving too many spoilers. So I guess I do want to say, first of all, I am actually very glad that I didn't recognize really any actors in this movie except for the bully, Tommy. He was the dude in Euphoria that was dating the one chick that is no longer. Other than him, I don't recognize anybody. I don't know who any of these actors are, which I think was a very smart choice because I honestly could not foresee any big name actors, actresses to be in this film. And I don't mean this to sound as bad as it's going to sound. I almost think that not necessarily could hurt their career, but let's say Zendaya. Zendaya decided to be in this film. I feel like this film would have been a step down for her career rather than a step up. Again, don't mean for that to sound as bad as it does, but that's just how I feel and my personal opinion. So yes, I mentioned a little bit earlier that this film was written by Guillermo Del Toro, who is one of my favorite writers and directors. Very well known for Hellboy, Shape of Water, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, and a bunch of other stuff that I just can't name at the moment. But I have been following him for many years. I am a big fan of all of his work. I will admit that some of it is hit and miss. I feel like this is kind of a miss. One of the biggest critiques that I have about this film is that it felt a little too Goosebumps for me. If you don't know what Goosebumps is, it's like a kid's version of a scary story, basically. There was a TV series, they turned it into a movie with Jack Black. Really cookie cutter and cute is the word that I would use. So this movie was cute. It really wasn't scary. I wasn't scared. I wasn't on the edge of my seat, wasn't anticipating what was gonna happen next. So that's that's why it felt kind of a little too Goosebumps for me, that I would show this to like a 13-year-old and even then they might not get scared. So that's, I think, really my biggest critique. And Del Toro can do horror really good. And that's why I was eager to watch this film, again, because I grew up on the books, that I really wanted to see what he did and adapted those books into this movie. But I don't know, it felt like a miss. It felt too cheesy, not really for adults, I guess, which is disappointing. I really wanted more out of it. This movie has mixed reviews. It was rated 77 on Rotten Tomatoes, 3 out of 5 on Empire Online, 6.2 out of 10 for IMDb, and 80% of Google users liked the movie. So, kind of rocking in the middle. Some critics thought it was good, others did not. Honestly, I have to say I'm impressed that I got 77 on Rotten Tomatoes. I think that I personally would have rated it lower. I guess I would say there weren't like plot issues. The cinematography was great. The monsters were exquisite, and I'm gonna go into that a little bit later. So I mean, as a whole, movie was actually done very well. Writing was done well, directing, cinematography, all of that. Again, really my issue just lies with I had so much more expectations for it that I disappointed myself. I wanted like a true horror that was gonna scare me like the books did, and I didn't get it. I got something that would air on Cartoon Network for the Halloween season. I did note that I wasn't sure if it's the writing or the acting, a combination of the both, or neither, but I wasn't a big fan of some of the on-the-nose character dialogue and actions that took place. So some examples would be the obvious attraction that Augie has towards Stella, and when Ramone comes into the picture, the little chemistry that the two of them have together. I feel like you could have written it better to show subtly that they like each other, their attraction is there, and that's why I'm also like, I don't know if it's the acting, if the actors are a little bit awkward and weird, but I wasn't a big fan of how on the nose stuff was to throw at the audience, like, hey, just so you know, these characters are feeling something. Hey, just so you know, Augie's in love with his friend. Like, duh. Wow, this is really picky, but it bothered me so much during this film. Wow, I just did it too. Stella wears glasses, and I kid you not, every 2 minutes, she's like pushing her glasses up constantly. And it was really bothering me because anybody with glasses does not do it nearly as often as she does it in this film. I don't know if it's a nervous tick, if it's an awkward tick or whatever, but it was unnatural. It wasn't realistic. Yes, I will admit I push my glasses up throughout the day, but I don't do it like every 2 seconds. It was really distracting. It took me away from the story because I just was focused on, oh, she's pushing her glasses up again. What is this girl's problem? She needs to get her glasses fitted to her face. It's the little things, man, I tell ya. One of the other things that I did say, which kind of, I guess, is a result of the writing, and that's at the beginning, Ramone doesn't know the rest of the group of kids. I don't want to spoil this, but he gets caught up in their world, their drama, but he just kind of appears. We do get his story later on, so it does make a little bit more sense. I don't know, to me, it was unrealistic that he became so involved with their group so fast. The group of the 3 of them are running through a drive-in movie theater because they're getting chased by bullies. To evade them, they hopped into a random person's car, which was Ramone's car. They're friendly, they become nice, blah, 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 blah. Bullies go away, and so then Stella's like, it's Halloween, let's go to a haunted house. And Ramone just tags along with it. And I'm like, you just met her like 20 minutes ago, and now you're gonna go to a haunted house with her and her friends? That's a little weird to me, especially because then afterwards, he is unable to go home after they're done at the haunted house. So he sleeps on a couch in Stella's basement. Again, you just met this chick maybe a couple hours at this point. You've gone to a haunted house with her and her friends, and now you're sleeping over at her house. That just screams unrealistic, way too forced, not natural. So I wasn't a fan of that. I think I would almost rather have Ramone just be a part of the group from the start. Like, what is the point of bringing in this random character, you know, I guess? Moving on. They also were very on the nose with who was supposed to be the next next victim to go missing, and I guess I didn't like that. I think I would rather have the element of surprise of, ooh, who's next? I have no idea. Instead, I kind of already had an idea from the get-go, the order of people that were gonna go missing, so I guess that kind of ties in with the cookie cutter cliche kind of point I was making earlier. Again, I think I would just rather have like an element of surprise and not know who is going to be the next after the next. So then I started to talk about the monsters. So Guillermo Del Toro is very well known for his monsters. Again, think about Hellboy and The Shape of Water. All of the creatures and characters in those movies are Del Toro's designs. They honestly are all phenomenal. Even if his films are hit or miss, I feel like the monsters and the characters within his films are all so exquisite and brilliant and deserve every award to ever exist. He just does such a great job. They're scary looking and intimidating. In the context of the movie, I was not scared by them. But if you just take the monsters out of the story and just kind of looked at it, you could be unsettled by it because of how detailed and scary they actually are. But in the context of the film, I wrote that we don't actually see anybody get killed. Everybody just kind of goes missing. So with the fact that nobody actually gets killed and they kind of all just go missing, again, is like, I would see this on Cartoon Network and it would be fine because there's no gore, there's no blood, there's no nothing or anything like that. And I think if the story itself did amp up that level, that could significantly make this film more horrifying. I kind of almost wish that the characters that go missing actually got killed rather than missing, because then it just adds that element of unease and tension and an element of mystery, I guess, like, ooh, who's gonna die next? How are they gonna die? And stuff like that. So there's a little bit of racism involved within a couple of the characters. They don't do a very great job at making it subtle. They're very obviously trying to point out this one dude is being racist towards this other dude. Why? Why? That felt so misplaced. Needed an excuse for something that happens in the film, but dumb. I thought it was horribly timed, didn't make sense, didn't need to exist. So the two main characters, Stella and Ramone, obviously kind of are pushed together in a relationship. They don't have any PDA to validate that, but you can tell that's where the story is going, that's where the script's going, that's where the characters are going, blah, 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 blah. I think they're cute. I think they're a cute couple, but I just don't like how forced we were into their relationship, how forced their relationship was. They only met each other like maybe 3 days at this point, and now they're like madly in love with each other. Just not real. And then the final notes that I put is that I did not like the ending. Can't really discuss why because that does give spoilers, but all you need to know is that it was left open-ended for a sequel, but I do not see it ever getting picked up for a sequel. So very harsh, but I think it's refreshing. Past movies and TVs that I've reviewed, I like really loved and recommended. So it's nice to talk about something that I didn't really like. Yeah, I had high expectations for this film. I was so eager. I thought it was gonna be good and was very disappointed. So there we go. There are all my thoughts, all my notes. Again, I know I was a little harsh and very critic about it, but I mean, that's why we're here, right? You want an honest opinion of what to expect of this movie? Well, there you go. It's a fun horror, good for kids. I will say that there is like a little bit of language, swear words, but there isn't a whole lot. I guess I wouldn't recommend though, just because I don't want you to waste your time unless this is kind of up your alley. Other than that, if you want something that actually gets like a physical reaction out of you, this is not the film. That's it. I'm gonna quit rambling now because that is everything. If you guys have any questions or comments, you want to go into further discussion about the movie, please leave it down in the comments down below. I would love to have a discussion about it and hear what you guys had to think about the movie. Other than that, that is this movie review. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you all for the support. If you like this video, go ahead, give it a big thumbs up. It would absolutely mean the world to me, and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're not already and you want to see more content. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Live life, always laugh, and enjoy the journey. Bye. Guillermo, oh my god, I struggle with his name.